Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar today for the MAB program. We are looking forward to have some feedback. Give me just a second and get this audio issue worked out. Okay, my apologies. We are ready to go ahead and get started. We have quite a few folks who are planning to join us today. If, as we are going through, you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat box and we will be watching that for you. Here is who we have on tap to share today. I'm Deborah Kohl. I've had the pleasure of serving with the Master of Agribusiness program for the last 8 years. My background is in student services and education, and I earned my master's degree from Kansas State University in 2002. Our staff includes Mary Bowen, who has been with the MAB program for 14 and a half years. She is very specific about the half. She earned her master's degree in 2013 from the University of Denver, and her job description was enhanced this spring as she assumed responsibility for our Agricultural Economics Department communication, in addition to the Master of Agribusiness Marketing. Dr. Alan Featherstone developed and launched the MAB program and has been its director since inception. You'll have the opportunity to meet him and ask him some questions if you attend the webinar that we have planned for June 16th, and I'll share a little bit more information about that in the upcoming slides. So here's where we're going today. Spending some time covering just some basic information about the MAB program, including the courses and skills you'll walk away with upon completion of the program. We'll also discuss the prerequisites, the application process. I can talk a little bit about transferring in coursework as well as paying for the program. And then at the end of the webinar, I will encourage you to contact me about an advising conversation if we haven't already had one, and we'll provide you some questions that we would encourage you to ask yourselves and ask us as you consider the next step of the program. So here's just a little bit of information about the MAB program. It was created in 1997 in response to a Board of Regents challenge to help grow and develop talent in the food, ag, and animal health sectors across the state of Kansas, particularly reaching out to our rural communities. So this is our first cohort. They're the gentleman pictured here. We did launch the program in 1998, and this group of gentlemen graduated in the year 2000. Over the last 20+ years, more than 500 students have participated in the program, and the demand for our program quickly expanded because of the skills that our students gained. Our reach quickly expanded both domestically and internationally. We were the first distance degree program in the country focused on the business of economics and just running businesses, managing them in production, agriculture, food, and animal health companies. We're not an MS in agricultural economics, and we're not your average MBA. We are a professional degree program specifically aimed at training managers for peak performance in some of the highest profiting and most rapidly changing industries today. Our students come from a variety of different backgrounds. Some have a scientific background and are looking to learn more management and business skills that they may not have picked up in their undergraduate programs. Others come to us grounded in production agricultural or agribusiness, but need more business backgrounds to make positive impacts in their companies or on their operations. Still others of our students come to us with a DVM or another advanced degree, but they realize they need to brush up on their business or computer skills to lead their companies well. There are quite a few advancements in analysis and what we can do with some of the software that we use. So some of our students come to us from that framework as well. And then finally, we do get a number of students who come to us with a solid business background, training maybe out of a college of business somewhere, but are not familiar with the supply chains or networks involved in this sector. So in the food, agriculture, animal health sectors, who want to learn more about how to do business specifically in our target industries. Our students hail from more than 50 states. And as we've polled our students, over 500 now, they've indicated that one of the most important ingredients on the academic side of their equation is not only the international variety of students that you will find within the program. We've had students from more than 35 different companies, but more importantly, also their relationship within the companies where they serve. So our program is vertically integrated with our students. In any cohort, you'll find students who represent a variety of different ages and relationships to the companies in which they serve. So for an overview of the MAB program and how it works, we are a 2.5-year program typically, depending on when you start taking classes and how you sequence them. And I can talk a little bit more about that later. We're also a 42 graduate credit hour program, and we are thesis bearing, meaning that you will write a thesis for the program, and I will definitely talk about that in a few more slides. There are 2 on-campus sessions that are part of the MAB program. All of our students are working full-time in production or industry, and our program is delivered executive style. So our faculty have perfected the use of internet delivery of classes over the last 20 years, but we also provide some additional tools to help you be successful. All of your course material will be supplied through our learning management system, but you'll also get a binder with the slides and presentations printed, as well as homework and readings. We ship those to you at the onset, just right a couple of weeks before each class starts. We will also provide a USB drive for you if you need to. All the pre-recorded lectures will be available in podcast form and also for download on that USB drive. Once a week, each of our courses also has a live recitation session associated with it. The faculty use this time to provide new material, answer questions, and work through any difficulties with the homework or applications that they may have had for the week. All of these recitation sessions are recorded. So if you're traveling during the recitation session, you can access it at your convenience. I just saw an email go out yesterday from one of the faculty whose class launched this week, just doing some polling on what kind of date works best for all of you who are in the class. Had a couple of times that he threw out there for folks so that they could find the best time for them to participate. Finally, our on-campus sessions do set us apart from your typical off-the-shelf MBA distance program. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about those right now. We do have 2 different cohorts. Our Heritage MAB cohort meets in Manhattan, Kansas, and the campus sessions for that session are in January and March each year. Then we have a second cohort that is focused specifically on the animal health industry, and that cohort meets in August and October at our K-State Olathe campus, which is about midpoint in the animal health corridor that stretches from Manhattan, Kansas, clear through Columbia, Missouri. So those are the 2 different options as far as cohort start. During the on-campus session, we will provide an orientation to the MAB program and graduate studies at K-State. You'll meet with the cohort of students with whom you're going through the program, and you'll also be introduced to the learning management system during that week on campus. You will kick off your coursework, and you'll meet the faculty that you'll be working with through the program. And probably most importantly, you'll have an opportunity to hear from leaders in food, agriculture, and animal health, including some of the alumni who've gone through the program. We always invite at least one alumni back for each campus session week to talk about where they've gone professionally, how they worked through the different parts of the thesis project, and the impact that the MAB has had on their careers. You will also meet and break bread with the cohort of students with whom you will journey through the program. Our students and alumni tell us that this network of professionals that they meet while they're on campus and that they get connected to through the campus sessions really benefit their careers long after they've finished with the coursework. And it's one of the things that truly sets the MAB head and shoulders above other programs. We've had very good success working with employers to send students to campus. And we actually had an employer come up to us at a trade show a couple of years ago and say, you know, so-and-so's doing your program. And of course we knew that. And we really appreciate the time that that individual is on campus. When they come back, they're energized, they're ready to hit the ground running, and we can definitely tell that those campus sessions have made a positive impact in their professional performance. So we know that this is, for some students, a barrier to entry, but we also know that the payoff at the end is definitely worth the investment here. The schedule for our Heritage program looks like this. You can see that you are on campus for the on-campus sessions in January and March. This is the Manhattan cohort session. I'm going to highlight a little bit here. So you would come to campus for the Heritage session in January. You do that 1 week on campus, and then you would also come in April, and the same thing, you're on campus for about 4 to 5 days during that time. In between, you're completing coursework here and working through those 3 courses. Then you go home, and all of this coursework here for the rest of the year is done by distance. You can see that the majority of the courses are back-to-back and one at a time for the rest of the year in both the Heritage program and the Animal Health cohort. In year 2, you're back on campus again for a week in January and a week in March. And then again, the rest of the time throughout the year, you're doing courses by distance. After, in year 2, we do stack, and we would encourage you to take an elective during this time. I'd be happy to answer questions about the electives if you have them. And then finally, in year 2.5, you are working on your professional thesis. And most of our students are able to wrap that up by May. So it really is just about a 2.5-year time. The courses that you will take during the first year of the Heritage program include logistics, supply chain management, finance, a managerial economics class, a class that focuses on optimization. This is one that definitely sets our program apart. It is one of our students' favorite courses within the program. Really looks at figuring out and running some models that will give you some data about improving processes and practices within your companies. And then finally, in year 1, you do have the optimization and risk management course. For the animal health cohort, the year 1 classes are very similar. The only difference is that the on-campus session runs in August and October in that cohort. So this is the animal health cohort again. And then you do again have classes throughout the year 1 at a time. Year 2, the classes are a little bit different. We would encourage you probably to take your elective for the animal health cohort sometime, in the fall or spring of year 1 or 2. And then again, you would be a December graduate, as is denoted here in year 2.5 of the program. Coursework for year 2 will include personal and team management, a marketing class, an international trade and policy class, a deeper dive into some statistical tools to help you forecast and plan business more efficiently, and then also a strategy course that will really help you look at your company or your individual approach to strategy and implementing a couple of different options there as well. So I do want to take a moment and talk a little bit about the thesis. We are a thesis-bearing program, which provides a little bit more of a comprehensive opportunity for you to apply the skills that you learn in the program to develop real solutions to a problem or issue in your firm or organization. So a lot of off-the-shelf MBA programs are case study driven. They're taking a case study that's already been written by someone else on a company that may or may not have actually happened. And a lot of times those are hypothetical situations or something that someone has already come up with a solution to. We take a very different approach. We want you to work with your company to identify a problem or an issue that is legitimately facing your company that you can have an impact on. Alternately, your thesis might be a business plan to set the launch of your own company, or it could be a financial analysis of an acquisition your company is looking at. You could tweak a logistic or supply chain model for your company. In fact, a recent thesis one of our students did saved their company more than $100,000 a month after he just tweaked his supply chain and then put that into play. We have a really good track record of working well with companies to maintain confidentiality and work with them on your company data. Our faculty operate very comfortably and well within non-disclosure agreements, something we're used to doing. And this allows the research that we do through the MAB program to make an immediate impact on the companies for which our students work. This isn't a case-driven program. I said that, and we truly believe that. We want our students to be able to make themselves more valuable to the specific company in which they're employed. It's not unusual for our thesis presentations to be watched by members of a company and sometimes even competitors in other areas. And we have had a number of our thesis documents published, both in trade journals and as white papers. A lot of interviews come from our thesis projects, especially those that have a really dramatic impact on the company. So it's a great opportunity for you to get exposure within your company and truly have a solid impact on the work that gets done there. Talking a little bit about admission. So here we have the prerequisites and the admission criteria for the program. We do require a bachelor's degree, a four-year degree, or equivalency if you have an international degree. We do require professional work experience of 2 or more years before you come to campus for a cohort. You can take courses, and we do see this, have seen it with increasing frequency over the last 5 or 6 years, that we have students who are not quite ready to jump into a cohort, but they do want to start taking coursework just to keep their academic skills fresh and kind of ease into the program. So depending on where you sit in industry, we would consider you for some distance-only courses within the program before you come and join a full cohort. So keep that in mind. Also, some computer literacy is helpful. We will teach you in that first campus session week how to use the Excel platform that we use and also how to use our learning management system. But we do require some computer literacy. And then we do need undergraduate coursework in accounting, a basic entry-level accounting class, a statistics class, and a macro, micro, or agricultural economics course. So I would be happy to take a look at your transcripts and look through the coursework that you have and make sure that you have met those prerequisites. One thing I want to point out is, you may have noticed, there's no GRE or GMAT requirement for our program. The truth is, these are standardized tests that are not a good indicator of how you're going to do in a graduate program once you've been out of the classroom for 2 or more years. So since we have that 2-year work experience requirement, we do not require the GRE or the GMAT. We've worked really hard to minimize the hoops that you have to jump through for application to our program, as well as your participation in the program at every stage. And this is a hoop that's not necessary because it's not going to tell us how you will do. If you have concerns about your academic preparedness or how you'll do in the program, definitely reach out to me and we can talk through some of those. I can get you connected with some students who have finished the program or who are currently in the program who would be more than happy to visit with you about what their experiences have been. So the application itself, one of my favorite tools our applicants use is a program booklet. If you haven't requested a paper copy, you can absolutely do that through our website. Our mail is still working at K-State and we are shipping things out almost every day. So please feel free to go out to our website and request a paper booklet. In the back of that booklet, there is a checklist of material that you need for your application. It's probably my favorite part of the booklet. I like to be able to check the boxes. So there is a full and complete list of what the requirements are as you're working through the application. You can either use the checklist to help you gather those materials in advance to applying, or you can go ahead and get started with an application and then as the materials come in, progress through the system. So as an overview, you will need 3 letters of reference and a letter of support from your supervisor. Your letters of reference do not have to be from folks in the academic realm. They can be from your customers. They can be from colleagues who have good experience of working with you. They can be from faculty members that you've worked with in the past or other folks that you're involved with in civic engagement. You can also leverage your letter of support from your supervisor as a letter of reference. So you can have one of those letters that works for both, as long as your supervisor has indicated that you do have their support to do the program and that you would be a qualified applicant. Your letter of support from your supervisor does not need to include any kind of indication of financial support. We really just want you to have a conversation with your supervisor about the fact that you will be on campus for those 2 weeks out of the year, just so that you've already had that conversation and you're cleared. It has worked well in our students' favor. It's also kind of nice for them to know that you've got some skin in the game and that you are looking to become more equipped to handle business and the business that is at hand. You will need statements of objectives. If you email me or we talk through an advising appointment, I will be more than happy to send you some redacted copies from some of our students so you can get an idea of how other students have addressed this part of the application process. And we'll need a current copy of your resume. Of course, you'll also need to provide transcripts. That's pretty standard for every application for graduate school at any institution. Now to the paying for the program part. 62% of our students in our most recent polls received some type of tuition reimbursement or assistance from their employers. We've seen a great disparity in the amount of tuition reimbursement that is provided across the board for our students. There are some whose employers are paying for the entire program. There are some who are paying a set amount each year, and it doesn't cover the full amount of the program. So this would be one of the things we'd want to talk through an advising scenario. I can talk through, if you're comfortable sharing what your tuition reimbursement is, we can kind of try to sequence classes to maximize that tuition reimbursement amount and get you on a path to being able to make progress as you go forward and leverage all of that. Additionally, we have seen a huge jump in the number of students who are using state and federal financial assistance, filling out the FAFSA and going ahead and paying for the program with student loans. I'd be happy to talk through with you what that payment schedule is going to look like if you are using financial aid from a state or local agency or federal financial aid. We are required by law to bill you on the semester. So we can talk through what that will be like and what the paperwork is on your end that you'll need to complete for that to happen. And then finally, we do have some dedicated scholarships out there. There's more information about that on our MAB website that you're more than welcome to apply for. Our MAB students have also been very successful in applying for and winning scholarships through our global campus and our university pool as well. So we would definitely encourage you to do that. The total cost of our program, the 2.5-year program, is $32,175. That does include 12 courses that are outlined in the booklet, the ones that we've talked through. That's 39 credit hours of coursework there. It does give you access to our distance education software, the thesis work with your faculty member, and all of our textbooks and course notes, material, any software you'll need for the program. Those are all included in that tuition amount. What that amount does not include would be housing and travel to attend the campus sessions, although most of our students have done really good about reaching out to the other folks in their cohort. We have quite a few students who are doing Airbnbs together. That does help with the studying and things like that when you're on campus. We will set up a block of rooms at a hotel at a discounted rate for our students, but we've been pretty creative in how students have chosen to handle that. There is also an elective course that you will need to take. We don't include that in the tuition amount that we quote, because if you choose to take it from a different institution, then that can affect the amount that you're paying. The payment schedule and annual installments is as listed. We break it down that way. But what I also wanted to address is a little bit about our pricing strategy. So we know that you can go and do an off-the-shelf MBA program in a general fashion in less than a year, maybe for less amount than what we are charging in our tuition. We also know that you can go and do several different programs online only for double what we are charging in tuition, or even sometimes 3 times as much. We have been really committed to keeping our price point at a place where it is accessible to those in the food and ag sector who do not have any kind of tuition reimbursement. And we're real conscious to the debt load that a lot of our students are coming to us with. Frankly, we've been told by a number of companies that we're working with that we're way underpriced, that we really need to raise our tuition and compete at a different price point. But Our concern is that that's going to put us out of reach for a lot of folks who truly need to do the program, especially those who are in production agriculture, either on the food or animal side. So we know that you have a lot of different options. We're pretty committed to keeping our program accessible, and that is why we have it priced where it is. So as you're considering our program or other programs, what I would really encourage you to do is to ask us, ask yourself, and ask any other programs you're looking at the next set of questions. We would really encourage you to ask what the track record of success is for students. What is the graduation rate? What are the GPAs of the students who do the program? Where do those students and graduates go when they're finished with the program? What is the time commitment that you will be spending on coursework and on homework and in lecture settings? In what formats are the course materials available? How are you going to be able to access those throughout the course of your program? We'd also encourage you to ask to speak to someone who is in the program. A good reputable program will have folks that you can get in contact with pretty quickly who can share with you what their experiences have been. And also someone who's graduated from the program. We have a whole list of alumni all across food, agriculture, animal health, who would be more than happy to talk with you. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but how this program has truly impacted their career trajectory, the skills that they walked away with, and what a benefit it has been to them. It should not take very long for a program to dig through and figure out who you can talk to about their program. Also, what's the tuition reimbursement policy? We work with a lot of different companies who need a variety of different documentation for the tuition reimbursement plans that they're working with. You need to make sure that you're going to be able to get what you need on the administrative side from the staff in that program in a quick manner. So make sure that you're asking what their policies are and what you need to be doing to keep your ducks in a row there. I had a question in the chat already about, can I share the information from this? Yes, we'll have the recording, and I'd be more than happy to give you a copy of the slides if you want to reach out to me. So yeah, I'm going to share my contact information right now, actually, because that's a great segue into what next steps would be. We'd love to hear more about what drew your interest to the MAB program and talk through how we might be a good fit for you. I would love to hear what company you're currently serving with and where you want to go when you're all said and done with the program, so that we make sure we're getting you what you need, both as you're looking at the program, but also as you're progressing through courses. So you can schedule an advising appointment with me, either email me at dkohl@ksu.edu, or our MAB email is listed there as well, mab@ksu.edu. Indicate some times in the next week or two that work for you, and we'll go through some of the questions that I listed here. And I will do a lot of listening about what it is that you want out of the program and where you want to go in the future. So that would be my first next step, would be go ahead and schedule an advising appointment if you have not already done so. We'd love to connect with you through our social media channels. Our students and alumni are very active on our channels, so it's a great way to start meeting others who have done the MAB program. And then we do have some additional webinars planned this month that we'd love to see you at, either or both of them. They're two very different opportunities. On June 9th, we'll have 3 of our alumni that we've invited to share about the promotions and career advancement that they experienced during and then immediately after the MAB program. They'll also be sharing about their MAB experiences and answer honestly any questions that you have. I tried to invite a group that is pretty diverse in the area of service and also their experiences both within the program and after. So please join us for that time, and they have agreed to answer any questions that you ask. And then finally, we have one scheduled for June 16th. Frequently asked questions with Dr. Featherstone. He, as our program director, has been serving with the program for more than 20 years and has really good perspective on the coursework, specific information about what is covered in each class and the curriculum, as well as kind of some of the strategies that he and other faculty use to engage with our students and alumni that help us to be really successful. So please feel free to register for either of those. The registration is available on our website. www.mab.ksu.edu. And then finally, if you know that we're the program for you, please feel free to go on out and start an application. I've included the website here, and we will push that out through the emails as well, of where the application landing page is on our website. The application itself can take anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes in one setting, or sometimes people need to work on it over a series of days or weeks as they're gathering their materials. So you can do it any way you would like. We would encourage you to go out and sign up for the Apply Web website. All of that information is out on our application page, so that would be another additional next step that you would be able to take. So here is our website again for you. All the registration for the webinars are out there, and then the MAB general email is there as well. The number listed is my cell phone number, and I am available to answer questions throughout the week. If you'd like to set up a time to meet for an advising appointment, I'd be more than happy to do that. Any other questions? I'd be happy to take those now if you want to enter those into the chat. Okay, someone did just text a question about the FAFSA, and yes, you would be able to fill out the FAFSA for this program, and those are available now for the fall. If you're joining us in August, you will want to go ahead and fill out that FAFSA as quickly as you can. If you're interested in joining us in January, you will fill out the FAFSA for the 2020-2021 school year. Because the spring semester is technically part of that award year. And then you would fill out an additional one for the second half of the first year of classes. So we will provide a lot of information about that when you're on campus, and we will also make sure that we have your billing correct during that first week of classes so that we are all on the same page and that you do not have to worry about that on the regular. So this is a great question, also from the chat. The question is, joining the Heritage cohort always starts in January. You can begin, yes, the on-campus sessions for the Heritage program are always in January. However, we do have courses that you can slide into over the summer and then beginning in August and September if you're interested in doing that cohort and getting started a little bit earlier. We do also have students who begin in one cohort because the timing works better for them in one year, and then transfer to the other cohort as we do progression of the courses. So we've had a number of students who've begun with us in the animal health cohort in August and have come for those 2 campus sessions, and then have transferred to the Heritage cohort in January with the classes that pick up for them in March. And if that is something that is of interest for you, I would be more than happy to work through a sequencing of courses that fits your needs. We've also had students who have begun in our January cohort and have progressed through courses, who've wanted to accelerate, who then come in August and do a second on-campus session during that year. Doesn't happen very often, but we have been able to accommodate that for students. So we have a great deal of flexibility in how we sequence your coursework outside of the 2 blocks of on-campus sessions. So pretty much the only time you can take the 3 classes that you start with the cohort would be either with a January start or an August start. Once we get those 3 out of the way, we can kind of sequence everything up a little bit differently to meet your needs. The other question that just came through is, if someone starts with the cohort but then needs to take a break from classes, how does that work? That's an excellent question. Once you've started coursework, we'll work with you to make sure that the sequence is working for you. If something comes up at work and you're unable to get away for a campus session, I will work with you to resequence your coursework so that you can join us for a later campus session. Either that same year or in the following year, but we'll try to keep you moving as best we can. If you are unable to take one of our courses all by distance because your job responsibilities have been enhanced or something happens in your personal life, we've been working with adult student learners for more than 20 years. We get that life happens and your job happens. So we'll be more than happy to work with you to resequence courses. If you need to step out for a semester or a block of a couple weeks, we'd be happy to accommodate that for you as well. Our faculty is really good about listening to students and putting their needs first. It's one of the things that I appreciate most about our faculty is how student-centered they are. And they want you to be able to grow both as an individual, but more importantly in your career. So they're very willing to work with you to accommodate. It just takes some communication. So hopefully that answered that question a little bit. Any other questions? Again, feel free to put those in the chat section, or you can text or email those to me as well if your chat session isn't working. I just got a question about financial aid and how many of our students are using federal financial aid to do the program. It varies from cohort to cohort on how many are using federal financial aid. What we've seen over the last couple of years is a lot of our employers will do a tuition reimbursement for students, but they will not do that until the course is complete. And of course, your tuition is due before you complete the course. So we've seen a lot of students leveraging the financial aid system to go ahead and pay their tuition. And then once they get the reimbursement from their companies, they are either paying that student loan back and beginning on those payments, or they're banking it and then paying off the bulk of the loan when they're all done with the program. You can handle that however you want. But we have seen a lot of our students use federal financial aid to cash flow the program. From that perspective. I believe that our cohort in January had about, I'm not going to be able to provide a great number on that, but I believe it was about 75% who have used federal financial aid, so in the form of student loans for the most part. We've had some cohorts where it's been as high as 100%, and we've had some cohorts in the last couple of years where it's been as low as 20%. So it just depends on who's in the cohort. But we are more than happy to work with you on that and to put you in touch with financial aid counselors here at K-State and answer any questions as they come up. Any additional questions? I'm going to go back to the page with my email on it. So I would love, if I have not already visited with you about your particular needs and what you want out of the program, as well as what your sequence of classes might need to look like, I'd love to visit with you. I'm available by phone, Skype, Zoom, we can FaceTime, we can WhatsApp, whatever works best for you. So I really would encourage you to email me directly or the MAB account, and let's set up some time to just kind of sit down and think through what the best fit for you would be here. So if there are no more questions, I will just say thank you to all of you for joining us today. And we look forward to hearing from you in the next couple of days about an advising appointment or with any additional questions that you have. So thanks for being with us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.